So just, I won't even reiterate. So what I'm looking for is the final reference point. I'm looking for that ultimate context when anyone says something is right or wrong. I want to know how that thing came to be on your framework. The final reference point is
my stances.
That's our so what you're saying is the final reference point is the opinion of the individual, because you are
not my opinions, my stances. Opinions can be stances, but not all stances are opinions.
Right. Leo,
so I can make moral considerations based off of my aims, and aims aren't opinions. I can make moral considerations based off of my desires, and desires are not opinions. But both desires and aims are stances.
But that's not what I'm challenging.
That's effectively what the foundation for my ability to make moral statements is.
No, that's not what That's not what I asked for.
Then I need you to reiterate your question in a slightly easier way to understand.
So when anyone makes any moral statement, right? There's going to be a broader context. Just like when the person gets pulled over for violating a law, it is fair to ask, what law did I violate? And so they're going to be appealing to some ultimate context. And that's what I'm looking for, the final reference point. Now, when you answer that your stances are, what you're saying is you have an opinion that an ethical framework.
I already explained how not all stances are opinions. I don't know why you keep going to opinions. Aims are not opinions. Desires are not opinions.
Okay. I'd like to finish my thought, right? So you're saying that
it's going to be pointless if you're already misunderstanding what I said, isn't it?
How can you say that when you haven't even heard me object? Shouldn't you at least hear
you're objecting? You're objecting right now, and when you did so, you misrepresented what my position was. I make these decisions based off my stances.
No, I didn't.
Some of those might be my opinions, but not all of them. So opinions isn't entirely relevant here.
Leo,
I'm speaking broadly.
Is it your opinion that your stances should be considered?
Well, that would be a second order opinion, and so it wouldn't matter, but yes.
Okay. So it is your opinion that morality should be based on your stances.
Well, no, that's not my opinion. That's a fact. Morality is based on people's stances.
What is the context of this fact? Is it written in a coconut somewhere?
No, it's what's studied by moral psychologists. This is a thing we know. People make moral decisions. All rational and normative decisions, which includes moral ones, are made based off of people's stances about things. Right. Their beliefs, Leo, their desires, their aims.
Okay. Let me reiterate what I tried to explain to Amy. I'm not challenging whether or not you can make right decisions. Okay. That would make sense on my worldview. That would be a neutral appeal, because on my worldview, you are created in the image of God. God wrote his moral law on your heart. So it would be inconsistent for me to say that you don't know what is right or wrong. But the problem is there are certain things that you don't want to be accountable to God, so you suppress that truth. So when you say that
I don't think God is even real, so I don't understand that objection.
Well, that's fine. Of course you don't. You're an atheist, right? But when you say that you have stances, I would agree. But you're just saying that you have an opinion that those should be considered.
I've explained twice that opinions aren't relevant here because not all stances are opinions.
But you're not defending that objection. You've made an objection. I've challenged it, and you're saying,
I actually did defend it twice. I explained how beliefs and aims are stances, but not opinions. So I gave literal examples of stances that aren't opinions.
Leo, let me.
So what do you mean I didn't defend the claim?
Let me ask you one more time, bud. Is it your opinion that your stances should be considered?
That my personal stance should be considered? I don't really have an opinion on that. That anyone's stances should be considered when we're having moral discussions, well, that's just an inevitability because the moral decisions and determinations that person makes are made based off of their stances.
Leo, you're dodging.
How?
Leo, is it your opinion that all stances should be considered?
It depends on how we're considering them. I don't understand what is it that you're asking me.
Okay. In reality, Leo, are there people that disagree with you?
Yes, they have different stances than I do on things. Abortion would be a wonderful example. I'm pro-choice. Many people aren't. That's because we have different stances.
So you have an opinion that people should consider your ethical framework, but in reality, this thing that
Well,
your
no,
world,
they can if they want,
hold on,
but I don't have any
Leo.
opinions about whether other people
Leo.
should consider my stances.
Okay, can I finish my thought? So Leo, your worldview is laying claim to this thing that we're calling reality. And you're saying that you have an opinion that people like Friedrich Nietzsche are wrong. You're saying you have an opinion that the Christian is wrong.
What do I think he's wrong about?
The Buddhist is wrong. Hold on. You're saying that you have an opinion that
wrong
all these other worldviews are wrong.
When have I claimed this? Has anybody heard me claim any of this? I don't recall saying any of this.
No, you haven't, Leo.
No. Leo, do you have a worldview?
Listen, can we get back on
naturalism, yes, but naturalism broadly has nothing to do with the broader or with the more the moral discussion we're having.
So on naturalism, when you are matter in motion, is it how do these ethical frameworks just derive? Did they just is there some sort of chemical recipe for these things?
I have no idea. They come from stances. That's what most moral philosophers will say. That's what most moral psychologists will say. I don't know. I don't study that. Am I supposed to know everything ever?
Well, I'm just asking if your framework can explain reality, and I'm asking if your
absolutely.
I'm asking
in a moment or two. I just want to ask a question.
Yeah, but when I ask you to unpack this thing called morality, all you're doing is saying that you have this opinion that's not an opinion, but it's actually an opinion that people should care.
I've never said that. I've said that people have stances such as beliefs, desires, and aims, and it is going to be based on an evaluation of a person's stances and a determination about what best conduces those stances that's going to determine or rather prescribe the actions or behaviors in which they engage. And we behave this way even morally. This is known by philosophers, particularly moral philosophers, because there's a whole branch of ethics with this name, as normative behavior. And this is very, very important when we try to understand normative ethics. Normativity is going to be a huge part of understanding morality and why people act the way that they do.
Is that true for the cow here?
Do cows behave normatively? Probably in some proto-sense, yes, but I don't know if we have psychologists that are studying the normative behavior of cows. That's not really something that's going to be interesting to us. I don't know why it would be.
But see, Leo, the problem is I've already addressed what you've said now multiple times. Because
so what have I expressed to you? Tell me what my position is that I've expressed. Show me your understanding.
Can we last comment to get back?
Let me say it one more time, and then we can move on. You can even have the last word, okay? But what you're saying is that there are these things that people have called stances, right? But that's not even true because people do horrific things.
Wait, you don't have
what
beliefs?
I said is
you don't have desires?
These stances
what?
from your world. You need to stop interrupting me. Okay. What I'm saying is these things that you're calling stances were written in your heart by the God that you're absconding from.
What's the evidence for that?
Well, it's easy. Here's the evidence. When I ask you to account for those things, your entire worldview and those other naturalists who would just absolutely disagree with you, like Nietzsche, they would say that these things are
nobody cares what Nietzsche said. He's a continentalist.
But Nietzsche wasn't even.
I don't know why you keep interrupting me. They're going to say
Oppie would be somebody to cite, not Nietzsche.
Yeah, and that's just your opinion again, right? But these things that you're calling stances can be accounted for on my worldview. They can't be accounted for.
I don't deny that.
And that's why your worldview, Leo,
stands for a result of intentional and normative behavior. What do you mean I can't account for them? I just told you where they come from.
Leo, that's why your worldview is false, okay? It cannot account for morality.
Redesign.
I've already explained how humans have stances, and it is a result of these stances that prescribe moral behaviors. I've explained this, I think, pretty thoroughly. I bet Mark understands what I'm saying. Amy, Doc Dino, Donnie, I bet they all understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. You have an opinion that people should care about your opinion on stances.
When have I said that? When have I said that people should care what I have to say? I haven't made that claim once in this discussion, Sam.
And there's some psychologists that agree with you. And we'll ignore the ones who disagree. That's all you've said. So
no,
you've
that's not what I've said.
Opinion Mark appealed to his
Which opinion?
But Mark's opinion was different.
Which opinion did I appeal to?
Because Mark's opinion justified every atrocious thing that
If
happened.
I could just bump in, but Sam,
Amy, what you said was really interesting, but I don't even know what you said, to be honest with you.
So how does stances not account for morality?
Can I just
because that was the claim. I want to see the argument for that claim. How do stances not account for morality?
Because everyone has an opinion.
But that's not an answer to my question. How do stances not account for morality? How do they not? Why is it that they don't?
You're equivocating what ought to be the case with
someone's
opinion.
I haven't mentioned anything about oughts.
And then you're Leo, you have, like, you and Mark, you guys are so bad at interrupting.
Because you keep saying things that I never said. Why would I let you continue? You're misrepresenting me.
Final reference point.
I told you, stances.
Super chat, and then
there's a super chat for you if you want to
That it's opinions were defined.
Hold on. So Leo, listen.
It's
Well, let's just allow Amy to answer the super chat.
Okay.
So it just says, framing, how did the first organism have the mental capacity to how to reproduce and how it was given the ability to reproduce? And that depends on how you suss it out. Yes, I would exactly what Leo was just saying. The first organisms had no mental capacity. They did not have brains or minds, or as far as we can tell, this type of conscious life that we would correspond to. And so it was really some type of either RNA model or competing for the first organisms, but then you eventually get the first animals, and the first animals, the first conscious life, you're probably going to see that form somewhere after, plants have already come around and had their sort of takeover. And so there's fungi and animals left. And so if you want to find out where the first few conscious organisms, we can actually find that in the strata using evolution.
Amy, appreciate the response. Sam, what do you think about that? Do you agree with Amy's answer? Are you an evolutionist now? What are your thoughts?
Yeah,
I'm convinced. For real.
I'm convinced. Amy and Leo have opinions, and sounds good, bro.
Well, no, that's my question for you, Sam. You offer a weird line of questioning. What you seem to be saying is, I have an opinion, you have an opinion, but my opinion's right for some reason. So I don't get your morality. Why is your opinion that God writes morality on people's hearts? Why should we care about, to quote you, your opinion?
Because God has an opinion.
That's a great question, but I've never, can I answer? I've never given my opinion. I'm appealing to what has been.
Well, no, you said God is written on our hearts. That's an opinion.
Yeah, hold on. Leo, can you, seriously, can you stop interrupting me? You got to let me get my thought out. You can.
I undertalked you, but I didn't overtalk you. I just overtalked you now, though. That's the difference between two of those.
We done, bud? Like, you and Mark need to show up with babysitters for reals. Okay.
Oh, I just think you can't show how what I said was wrong.
Amy, the projection is incredible.
All right. Maybe it is.
Okay, let's answer.
Amy, let me answer your question. Okay, I'm not. Maybe it is. Amy, the answer to your question is I'm not giving you my opinion. Okay, if I do that, forget about it. I am appealing to God. I'm appealing to my worldview, and I'm explaining how your worldview is the problem, because your worldview is a bunch of people telling me that what ought to be the case because they have an opinion on what ought to be the case, and they'll try to call it something else like a stance, but no one cares. Like, literally no one cares. The
stance can form oughts, but stance and oughts aren't the same thing.
Yeah, but I would disagree with you. I think you are.
Leo can say, look, here's the question for you guys, okay? A is moral. A is not moral. Okay?
When you say moral, what do you mean?
How do you?
When you say moral, what do you mean?
We're not going to do sophistry, Leo.
So I'll tell you what I mean. When I say that something is moral or right, I just mean that it's what ought to be done or what ought to be permitted. All things considered.
Yeah, and what is that ought?
What ought to be?
What is this mysterious?
Ought? You don't know what an ought is? The notion of this notion of an obligation. Some prescriptive obligation, some prescriptive obligation. Sorry, you're going to shut up and let me answer the question. You keep reiterating while I'm answering it, or are we just going to play this game ad infinitum? So which is it, buddy? So can you let me answer? Because that would be great. It's some notion of a prescripted obligation assigned by one's stances that prescribes actions and behaviors that are designed to conduce the content of those stances. This is the notion of normativity that you have consistently failed to understand.
Yeah,
okay,
and what
so
is it?
Who decides that though, Leo?
What is
Thank
this
you for the
author
lecture.
not
I'm gonna
Decides
showing
what?
up? Hold up, redefine. Please
Wait, no.
I'm gonna
E
present
asked a
hold
very
on,
good
Bubba.
question. What was that question,
I'm gonna
E? I'm sorry.
present you the
I can't hear it.
contradiction.
Everybody else is talking.
Actually, before anybody talks, Leo, I'm wondering, your audio's kind of coming in and out. It's good for seconds, and then it starts getting a little choppy. Is there anything you could do to fix it, or are you on your phone, or just to let you
turn
know?
off my automatically adjust mic volume, and then just turn my volume down.
And that should work?
Yes. That's why I always turn it off when people turn it on, and then I just turn my volume down to like 70 or 80 or something like that. Yeah, so E, what was your question? Because you actually asked a really good question. I want to answer it. Can you ask that question again?
If there's no such thing as a God, who decides right from wrong exactly? And we can't go by.
What do you mean by right from wrong? What do you mean by those words, right and wrong?
Who decides what's right and wrong? Now,
what do you mean by right and wrong?
Well, give me a chance to speak. I'm gonna give you an example here. Now, my example is in this country over here.
I didn't ask an example. I asked for a definition.
Dude, Donnie, can you mute Leo?
Please, I'm trying to.
Behaves like a child. Like this.
No,
is
Leo's asking a good question. Leo's asking a very good question. What the fuck do you mean by the right and wrong?
Okay, well,
okay. No. First off, don't watch the language here now. So if you're gonna start swearing, you can just get out of here. There's no need for any of that. There's probably kids watching, so watch your mouth. All right.
You're gone, bubblegum. I don't understand how we can go nearly 3 hours of back and forth passionate discussion, and bubblegum says a total of 8 words, and one of them has to be an F-bomb.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gone.
Yeah.
So,
just from the atheist side,
this
channel has rules. Like there are rules on it, and if you want to engage with it, you've got to follow
those rules.
Yes.
They're easy rules to follow, right? Let's keep it rated G.
I don't think it's hard.
Yeah,
he's showing us how morality works live on stream. What a Chad.
Okay, let's allow Leo to finish his thoughts. Throw it back to Sam. And I'm going to say 2 minutes. We're going to go to this next super chat. Then we'll engage this a little bit. I got a list of super chats we should.
Hey Donnie, is it okay if I finish my statement there?
Okay.
I got a question there for Leo. So when it comes to if there's no God, who decides right from wrong? Because in a country over here, back in the day, they thought it was okay to sleep with little boys. And we know now that that's not okay to sleep with little boys, but people still do that. So is that okay? Because this group over here says that's okay. They think that's okay. And over here, and I'm sure you're going to say that's wrong. So who are you to say that that's wrong and that's right? Who decides exactly?
I don't know what you mean by right and wrong, so I'm going to struggle to answer your question.
Because you're going by because you know what I mean.
No, you use those words, so I want to know what you mean by them. What do you mean by the words you used?
E, the problem is when people like Leo
I didn't know Sam was going to answer for E. That's kind of weird. Doesn't everybody think that's weird? Isn't that just bizarre?
Now all of a sudden, Leo doesn't know what's right and wrong, but he's
I know what they mean for me,
right?
That's what this whole conversation's about.
Means. That's what I just said. I don't know what he means by those words. Do you not understand the difference there?
Leo has an ethical framework, but doesn't know what right and wrong means.
Oh, I know what they mean. What I want to know is how he is using them. Do you not understand that people use words in different senses, Sam? Is that a thing you don't understand? Am I not allowed? Am I not allowed to question
right and wrong only has one meaning, Leo. Leo, right and wrong only has one meaning. Leo, right and wrong has one meaning. Right and wrong has one meaning, Leo. There's one meaning for right and wrong.
What is that meaning?
There's only one. There's either something that's good or something that's bad. There's only one meaning for it. You can't confuse the two. There's either something that's wrong or something that's not wrong, Leo, and you know that. That's what you've been talking about this whole time. So if there's no such thing as God, Leo, what is right and wrong? Is it okay for this group over here? Is it okay for this group over here to have sex with little boys, or is it not okay? Which one is it?
Yes. What do you mean by what do you mean by the concepts of okay and not okay?
Okay, Leo.
So you can change it to good or bad, okay, but you're talking about the same concept. And what I'm trying to get at is what you have in your head when you use those words. What kind of concept you have, so then juxtapose it with my concept of that to ensure that I answer your question in a way that is honest and meaningful. But if you're just going to be obtuse here and refuse to tell me what you mean by your own words, we're never going to get anywhere. So what do you mean by right and wrong?
Hold on.
I think if I can sort of try and sort of try to get at what Leo's saying is that I think that he's saying that you're sort of talking about it like there are moral facts kind of thing. There's moral facts independent and somehow set kind of stuff.
No.
And that, okay,
That's
sure.
not.
I'm wrong
I'm
then.
just saying I do not
Sorry, Leo, I
understand
don't mean to
at all.
yeah.
No. I mean, I'm not. I don't want to be rude, but that
And this is
isn't
the problem.
what I'm trying to
It
get at.
might be
What
different.
concept
Leo, I asked you.
has
Leo, I
of
asked
right
you.
and
Is it
wrong.
okay? Is it okay? I asked
What do
you
you
this
mean by
question.
okay?
Is it okay? Is it a right
What do you
thing for
mean
these
by
guys?
okay?
Is
No,
it a?
it's
I'm
evil.
trying to explain, Leo.
Why
Is it a
is it
right
so
thing?
difficult for you to
Leo,
answer
stop
that question?
talking. Leo, stop talking.
Leo,
Okay, just
Leo,
let
stop
evolutionism
talking.
finish
Keep
his
your mouth
thought. We'll
quiet
go back
and let
to
me
Leo.
speak. All right, brother.
So you can
Listen.
reiterate the same question, which you're about to do, but go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, Leo. Keep
Leo.
talking.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
I-
That he won't answer
Go
a
ahead,
simple
go ahead,
question.
E.
So hold on
Just
here,
throw
Mark.
your
I want
thought
you to do me a quick
Just-
favor. Ask me what I mean by right and wrong.
What do you mean by right and wrong?
So when I say that something is right or good or okay, I'm saying that it ought to be done or permitted or it ought to occur, all things considered. And when I say that something is wrong or immoral or bad or it's not okay, what I mean is that it ought not to be permitted or it ought not to occur, all things considered. So see, notice how I gave the concept that I have of those words when I hear them. But I don't know what concept you have.
So
And
you
that's
have an
just gonna make it
opinion, right,
difficult to have this
Leo?
discussion.
Subscribe. First.